Hello and welcome to Michelle's Magical Monday. It is yet another week and probably one of the most powerful months of 2023. And we are here on the night before the big full moon. And so for me, the 2 days, 3 days prior to the full moon is actually when I get really intentional. I feel the potency pre-full moon is brings more magic to the table. So I was always really taught to do it the night before. So because it isn't necessarily an evening full moon, it's actually peaks in the morning tomorrow. I will be doing all of my intention setting and magical workings this evening. But if you do watch this later, you can really tap into this full moon energy for the whole week. And someone asked me, really, what is going on? March feels almost like there's a Mercury retrograde. And the truth is there's no retrogrades right now. There's absolutely no planets in retrograde at this time. So the reason why we might feel uncomfortable is anywhere we're out of integrity, anywhere we're out of alignment, because the energies are really wanting us to shift to become our best selves, to shift to maybe have a little identity crisis in the month of March. This is a big setup. This is set up for the next 2.5 years, the cycle, and it's also a setup for the next 20 years in a cycle. So it's big, and maybe you don't even know what you want, but I want you to tap into how you want it to make you feel. Okay, so what are your goals? What are your intentions? We've got a lot going on. So as people are popping on, I'm just going to share a little bit because we've got some new people that are following this video, and I kind of just want to introduce myself. I'm Michelle Orwick, or Magical Michelle, and a lot of you already know who I am, but I have had some new people start following us recently, and I would love it if you like and share. If you're watching this on Facebook, it is the Soul Circle. We do it live in Soul Circle at 6 o'clock on Monday nights, and then we try and pop it up sometime later in the evening. Sometimes it takes a little longer. It just depends on what technology does for us. But we also put it on YouTube, and we stick it in our newsletter that goes out. And so if you're watching it on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification buttons. But most importantly, how you can help me keep doing this is share it with your friends, comment. You know, if this is helping you, maybe it's going to help someone else. Because I love doing it. I've been doing this for years, but I'm getting really refined this year. That's one of those things with this energy that I'm doing personally, is I'm getting really intentional with what I want this to be. And I'm also making the format very clear that it is an energy and astrology update every week. There might be a little meditation, there might be a little energy healing, but it's really a way for me to kind of weekly come in, tell you what to expect, give a little advice, and really just touch base with you, my audience, every single week. And I love it, and I love you, and I'm super grateful for you. So all of that being said, let's talk about what is happening on the worldscape and how that's probably making you feel. We have one of the powerhouses right now in the sky is Pisces. And Pisces is a water sign, and it is very emotional. It has to do with dreaming. It has to do with connecting psychically. It has to do with things that bring you to your physical dreams and your literal dreams. So we have Capricorn is where one of the major planets, Saturn, has been sitting for 2.5 years. Capricorn's a completely different story. Capricorn's structure, it's an earth sign. It represents, you know, God, and it's very masculine, whereas Pisces is very watery. And so this massive, very slow moving planet, 2.5 years, energy is moving into Saturn from Saturn is moving into Pisces, from Capricorn into Saturn tomorrow, right with this full moon. So the full moon, going back to earth signs, is in Virgo. And Virgo is a really big earth sign as well. And Virgo likes structure. Virgo likes to be creating systems. Virgo likes to be looking at health and neatness and organization. And Pisces is also really important about health. So we have the sun in Pisces and we have the moon tomorrow morning, or maybe you're watching this later, but basically sometime on the 7th, no matter where you are, it is going to be this full moon. And so that what's this good for? It is good for charging up energy. If you have any release work, I like to do a burn. I actually write out what I'm letting go of and burn it, whether that's in a fire, in a cauldron, or you can tear it up, you can get rid of it. But writing out what you're letting go of, or meditating on what you're letting go of, ritualizing what you're letting go of. And because this is water and earth, this particular energy is very water and earth. The sun's in water, and we're going to be having this other transition just an hour after the full moon tomorrow. You are thinking about maybe purification in a watery kind of way. Take a bath, take a shower, create a spiritual bath, cleanse your stones if you have crystals, and they are the kind of crystals that are good with water. I wouldn't use an eye. I wouldn't physically wash a selenite or a kyanite or anything that ends in ite. Some can, most cannot. It's not that every ite isn't washable, but you really just don't want to get those crystals wet. But your quartz and your like your rose quartz and your amethyst, and I have a lot of amethyst in this house, as you can see, these are really wonderfully cleansed with water. So this is a good time to do it. It is also a Pisces energy outside, but an earth sign and the full moon. So putting your crystals, which are earth, out under the full moon. This is one of the best ones of the entire year to actually either tonight, tomorrow. You really have 3 days to charge your crystals out under the full moon right now. So if you wanted to really get something sparking or cleared, putting them under the full moon it's just a powerful time. So that's one thing you can do. I always like candle magic, so it is a good time to create a crystal grid with maybe a candle in the middle of it. Whatever it is you want to do with your intention setting. It could be just a simple list. It could be a meditation. But clarity is part of this particular transformation. If you want to become something new, and that's really the energy right now, a little bit of an identity crisis with everybody I've been talking to. And that is because we're in an upgrade motion. When we become something new, we can no longer be what we've been before. So calibrating to the energy we're becoming versus the energy we've been. And so that's really going to be continuing through the whole month of March and probably the whole rest of this year. 2023 is a transitional year. 22 is very activating. This is more integrating. That's the best way I can describe it, is more of a becoming instead of doing. This is really about being instead of pushing. This is about your mindset. This is about your recalibration. Because it's Virgo, it's about the body and embodiment. So really, what are you trying to embody? So if Pisces is dreams, how are you embodying the activation of your physical body and your dreams in physical reality? How are we taking tiny little action steps that make those things come true? So you have that. And then the second big piece is the fact that we're moving, this Saturn is moving from Capricorn into Pisces. So from an earthy, like structure place into the world of dreams and psychic abilities and mind and openness. So we're gonna feel a lot of shift, and it's not necessarily a really comfortable place for Pisces to be. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Transformation, like the butterfly going through its chrysalis stage, that caterpillar does not know it is necessarily going to have to literally deconstruct itself to become the butterfly. And I think that's where we're at right now, is in the deconstruction. And that word has been coming through from my angels and my guides recently, deconstruction. And so lots of people I know are moving, purging, making their house more functional, making their body more functional. It's a great time for a house cleansing, blessing. It's a good time to sage your house or clear your house of old energies. I even sometimes like to do a spiritual bath on the floors of my house with lemon juice in the water. And then you could also, if you have carpet, you can actually crush up lavender or sage and put that into the carpet for a few minutes and vacuum it up. So I mean, it is that level of, if you're a crystal grid person, charge your crystals and actually put crystals into the corners of your home. I actually had somebody here today and she's like, those rose quartz by your door, those are intentional. I'm like, oh yeah, very intentional. I have a big chunk of rose quartz, one on each side of the door, so people can come into my home and feel the energy of love and be able to leave at that front door anything they're carrying in that isn't love, not bring it into my house, including me. So those are like the kinds of feelings and activities, and that energy is going to go through this entire week. We have some of the biggest things this month, and this is one of them. This combination of the movement of Saturn with the full moon states that we are going to be moving into a new era. And it's really preparing us. If you're out of alignment, out of integrity, out of authenticity, and you need to reharmonize yourself, this is what it's asking you to do. So take this next week and get into, know what you want, ask for it, know what you feel, know who you are, and start embodying it, being it, taking little action steps and creating it, because we got some big hitters. A extra big hitter at the end of the month. We're going to be seeing Pluto, which only moves, at like 20 years at a time, moving into Aquarius. And that is going to be something we'll talk about later in the month. But just know that you're looking at one of the biggest changes you're going to see this year, and it's huge. It's going to really be a defining moment. So in that, you're also going to have an Aries new moon, which is the beginning of an astrological year, and you're going to have that right with the spring equinox if you're here in the United States. So you're going to have this really big balancing moment, harmonizing moment. So it's really good to take these couple of weeks up until the 20th of March to really take some time, meditate, get clear on who you are, what you want to be, what you're becoming, and where you want your life to be going, and get intentional and physically start embodying that. And that's why I love a little bit of practical magic, because it helps me ritualize what I'm thinking. I love meditation and manifestation with the mind, but setting it down on paper is good too. And so I usually write a manifestation. I usually will include a candle or a crystal grid or both into an intention. I will then speak it into being, and then I will meditate on it and anchor it. And what you're really anchoring into is the feeling of it is already yours. This client that I was working with today, beautiful young woman, and one of the things we talked about was the law of compassion and how we want to be coming from the law of compassion. And the client right before that, we talked about vulnerability, and vulnerability is hard. There's a lot of that out there right now. Brene Brown has made an amazing connection with vulnerability. And I don't want to take away from being vulnerable and being authentic, but I really like coming from the heart versus coming from a vulnerable place. So if you're looking at compassion plus, compassion, the law of compassion will move you, if you're coming from a place of compassion to self or compassion to another, will move you in the direction of love. So a lot of times we think of compassion only as giving it to another person, but really we're being asked to have compassion for self, our past, radical forgiveness, radical acceptance. This will push us into love. This will be a way where we can share our energy from a strong place of strength, because for some reason, when we equate vulnerability, we feel just that. We feel vulnerable, we feel weak. So when we're in this kind of energy, we want to come from a place of the strong energy of compassion, radical acceptance, the wisdom of knowing what you can change and what you can't, and changing for something instead of out of fear of something else, because it's really hard to manifest from a place of lack or fear or anger or scarcity, but it's super easy to manifest from a place of worthiness and compassion and joy. And that's what we're looking at with this new energy, this full moon in Virgo, this beautiful new shifting into all of this Piscean energy, and then eventually at the end of the month, this big Aquarian energy. It is way less about structure and way more about feeling. And feeling is going to become the new word for the next 20 years. I am super serious about that. Feeling, you are going to have to decide, how do I want to feel, and choose to feel that. Because when we're feeling bad, we can have compassion for ourselves, and we can choose to let it go. We can choose, and trust me, I've had my own worry, fear, anger, concern. Like, I am not spiritually bypassing with this. This is the hard stuff that we are here to learn on planet Earth. We can't change planet Earth. We can't change ourselves unless we choose to come at it from a place of compassion, come at it from a place of powerful integrity and choice. And we can't change anything that we can't accept. If you don't know, want to talk about acceptance and you didn't watch last week's video, I actually talked a lot about the law of acceptance, which is under the law of humility. And so I don't want to go into that right now. But if you want to start talking about the laws on a bigger level and join the conversation, I am, just for the month of March, 4 nights. They'll be on Tuesday nights. They will be recorded. I am doing the laws of the universe, and we are going to cover some of these in depth, like the law of compassion, the law of acceptance, the law of humility, the law of cause and effect, which we all talk about the law of attraction, but we really don't look at the law of cause and effect. We don't look at the law of action. I'm going to really dive into the law of polarities. We're going to do a little bit we're going to do one night on the 7 hermetic laws. And we're just going to really work with the energy that's being presented instead of against it. So we have that starting tomorrow. So I invite you. It's a, a one-shot deal, but it is recorded if you can't be there live. And I invite you to join us on that, because I'm really excited about this journey. And it feels like it's really importantly timed for this powerful manifestation that is in the course. Oh, the law of reciprocity. Thank you, Erica. That is one of the laws we are going to cover. So let's just take a couple minutes and center in and just bring yourself back to your heart space. That is what you're going to be required to do. That's why it feels like Mercury retrograde, is because we are being asked to come to our heart and really remember who we are. So just take a breath and center yourself and harmonize your body. Let go of the stress. Let go of the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let go. Take a moment and imagine that you are sealing up your bubble. It's in front of you and behind you and to the right of you and to the left of you, in front of you, below you. Actually imagine sealing it up. Behind you, make sure you seal up all those little spots. Is there an energy leak there? And if so, create a full circle. And then just anything that isn't yours that's inside that circle, it is time to send it into the level of love. Send it out. It isn't yours anymore. And if it is yours, if it's your own worry, your own fear, your own concern, send it into the level of love and replace it. I want you to imagine that you're inside this beautiful ball of light, and this light is pink. This light is the color of unconditional love and the law of compassion. And I want you to feel its strength holding you. It is inside of your bubble, but it is energy and it is yours. It is your birthright to have compassion and to be surrounded by compassion and to be held in compassion. And then let that start swirling into your body. Let it come into your mind's eye and start changing the way you think, so you're more kind to yourself, more kind and looking at it from another person's perspective, being kind to them too. Go in and replace in your heart all the places where you're angry and hateful or holding a grudge. You can release those obligations to stay in the energy and replace it with compassion, compassion for self, compassion for others. Maybe you have something on the back or the neck or the shoulders. Imagine it filling up that space behind you and in you. Maybe you're holding on to something in your hands or your arms. Release that and fill it up with compassion. And then go to your gut, your belly, your solar plexus, anything that's in your lower organs, and fill those up with unconditional love and acceptance. Maybe you've been judging yourself. Maybe you're too fat, too thin, too this, too that, not enough of this, not enough of that. Wherever you've been judging yourself, send that unconditional love. Go into your legs, your foundation, your sit bones, your feet, your knees, anything that's been holding you up, and send it some love and compassion, because it's been doing a lot of hard work lately. And just really get centered into that love energy. And remember that it is easier to completely change the world from this place, that place, the place of compassion, the place of love, the place of peace. Because doesn't that feel better in your body? And that's the embodiment. That's the embodiment. It's a great time to start a process of any kind, but not too many. Like, don't try and change everything at the same time, but just if there's something you really, really want right now, identify it and make yourself a sacred commitment. Now is the time, and the time is now, and I'm going to take action to be more loving, more compassionate, and more in alignment with who I'm becoming and who I am and where I'm going and what I want to be, and being more of who I am in my everyday being. And just love yourself a little harder. Give yourself a tight squeeze and a smile. And so it is. Just take that in through every level of your body, time, space, dimension, and reality, and know that you know that you know that you know that you are an absolute powerhouse of a being. And it's your time. And you've got this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been Magical Michelle, and this is this week's energy and astrology update, and a little bit of healing and meditation thrown in. If you want to know more about me, you can hit me up at magicalmichelle.com, or you can send me a DM and we can talk about my Living Magically coaching program or anything else that I'm doing that might be in alignment for you. But in the meantime, I want you to really be intentional this week, this whole month. If you were going to ever be mindful of what you really want and what you're saying out loud in the world and what you're not saying out there in the world and what you're choosing and how your frequency is being, this is the week. Like, I say that every week, I suppose, but probably March is the place to stay and give yourself that deepest love, emotional love bath that you've ever given, and really dream big. Pisces is all about the dream. So dream big, and don't let anyone tell you it's impossible, or even worse, that it's possible but not possible for you. Instead, say, this is the law of polarity. If it's something I truly want and I'm aligned with it and I don't necessarily know how to get it, I just stay in the frequency of how it would make me feel to have it. And the way is already there. I just have to find it. Because if you have a soul level desire, the way to make it come true is already in the field of miracles. It's already there. That's quantum physics. If you actually have a soul level desire, the way to achieve it is there. You just have to step out of your paradigm and your box and allow that miracle to be one with you. And it's there because you are a miracle. You're a walking, talking, living miracle. So happy Magical Monday. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to live magically.